Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. This movie was a big deal. How? Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is from 1990. It lasts about an hour and a half. And it's the strangest thing I've ever seen. No, it's not. It's up there. What is this? What? This whole turtle thing. Listen, when I was a kid, this was the biggest thing on earth. Really. It was a phenomenon. I mean, you couldn't move without hearing about turtles. Everyone wanted the toys. Did you? Yeah, I wanted all the toys. I wanted Leonardo and Michelangelo and Donatello and Raphael and Splinter and Shredder. I get it. Okay. Well, it was based on a cartoon series called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. In this country, it was actually called Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles. Huh? They thought ninja was like, it had violent connotations. Really? Yep. Also, there were no such thing as nunchucks allowed to be seen in this country. So the scene in the movie with nunchucks and any scenes in the cartoons were cut out. Really? Yep. What a time to be alive. So did you see this movie at the cinema? I did see it at the cinema.
It's story time!
Unusually, because at that time, we never really went to the cinema. We couldn't afford it. But, and this is one of the best things that's ever happened in my life, my sister and I were in a store, Woolworths, and there was a lucky dip going on. I think it was Halloween, and you paid like 20 pence or something to have a go at this lucky dip. Right, so what did you do? Well, you put your hand into a big barrel filled with sand. What? Yeah. And you pull out a prize, and you don't know what the prize is until you open it. Alright, so what did you get? A turtle? No. I reached in, I pulled out a bag, I ripped it open, and it was a bag of sweets. Ah. That's a bit of an anticlimactic story. Well, no, the story's not over. After that, it was my sister's turn. She reached in and she pulled out an envelope. And she was like, oh, I wanted sweets or a toy or something, not an envelope. She thought it was probably going to be like a book token or a discount voucher for Woolworths.
Rubbish.
Or get to the point. The point is, she opened up and it was 2 tickets for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles at the cinema. I could not believe it. I was delighted. Who did she go with? She went with me. She took me. And my mum came along, obviously, because we were kids. Alright, cool. Good story, eh? Yeah. Is it true? Yeah, it's true, yeah. It was like the planets aligned for me, who, in my mind, was the biggest Turtles fan on Earth. So did you get all the toys? I never get any of the toys. Ah.
How sad is that?
Oh well. Sucks to do you. Anyway, back to the movie. So the movie opens with New York City, and the city is basically under siege. It's just crime every day. The crime pandemic is getting worse and worse. Yeah, and there's these guys, right, and they're like dressed like ninjas, because on this channel we don't talk about ninjas enough. And they're like stealing things, they're picking pockets, and they're stealing things from the shops, stealing vans, stealing merchandise. They're sneaky at least, they're good ninjas. Yeah. But these are not the turtles. These are the bad guy ninjas. Yeah. And this news report has been told to us by April O'Neil. Yeah. And that night we see April O'Neil walking the streets of New York. She's heading home. Yeah. And she just turns a corner and there's this group of kids who are like stealing things, a car radio or something. And they decide, let's beat her up. Yeah. Quite an escalation. Yeah, well, it's because she witnessed the crime. I guess so. But guess what? The streetlight gets too out because something's thrown at it. A sigh. Electra? It's not Electra, but a sigh is thrown, smashes the streetlight, it's all dark, and then a few seconds later the police appear, and when the police appear and shine a light on things, all of the thugs who were going to beat up April have been beaten up and tied up. And April is like, oh, die. And she sees a sigh sitting, and she takes in her handbag. See a pair of eyes looking through a sewer. And that stink down there. Yeah. Well, and we find out whose eyes they are. They are Raphael. Yeah, and he's a turtle, right? He's like 6 foot tall, and there's these other turtles, 3 others, and they're Leonardo and Michelangelo and Donatello. Leonardo, Michelangelo, Donatello, and Raphael. They are the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Yeah. What the heck are these things? Well, it'll be explained what they actually are. So it turns out this was the Turtles' first battle. Yeah, They'd eat these guys in the dark, and now they're celebrating. They're like, oh, that's so cool. We're great. We kick ass. Let's get some pizza. Yeah, but before they get pizza, they go and they meet father figure, their mentor, Splinter, who's a smelly rat. Well, he's not smelly. He's a rat. Not all rats are smelly. Now that he lives in a sewer.
A fair point.
So they tell Splinter about their victory, and Raphael confesses he lost a sai. Splinter says, well, the first rule is don't be seen, so if your sai has been taken, it's gone forever. Too bad. Yeah, Raphael is not happy. In fact, see all the way through this movie, Raphael is very rarely happy.
Don't know why he's so grumpy.
Are they the same in the cartoon? Well, in the cartoon, Raphael's he can be a bit moody. He's a bit aggressive, right? What about the rest? Well, Leonardo's like the leader, and he's quite wise, okay? And Michelangelo's a party dude. And Donatello's another party dude. Well, in this film he seems to be. But in the cartoon he's more like, he's a technical genius and he creates all the weapons and all the tools and he can figure things out. He's quite smart. Right. But in this film he is a bit more of a party animal, which we see straight away because Splinter starts to teach the turtles about meditation and the powers of clearing your mind and all that. Yeah, and Michelangelo and Donatello just completely ignore him and start dancing. I think they've got issues. Now Raphael is still upset about losing his sai, he's still in the mood, so he says, oh, I'm going out to the cinema, and the rest are like, okay, see you later. What? Don't be seen as rule number one? A 6-foot turtle going to the movies in New York City is not being subtle. He has got a disguise, yeah, a long jacket, a trench coat, and a hat. Yeah, and you can clearly see through the disguise that he's a monster. Well, a mutant, yeah. Cut to Raphael coming out of the cinema. He has just been to see Critters, which we'll cover one day. Oh. And he's in crowds of people. Yeah, no one notices him. And then he sees someone getting nugged. So he chases a nugger and chases him into Central Park. And he's happy just to chase the guy off because he's just a kid. But then this other vigilante comes up and he's got a weird mask like Jason on Friday the 13th. And he just hits the guy with a hockey stick. The guy's thoroughly dead. He's not dead, but this vigilante is a bit heavy-handed. Yeah, this turns out to be Casey Jones.
And then there's Casey Jones.
And he and Raphael had a little fight, and Raphael's disguise falls off, and Casey Jones says, oh, you're a tunker. Whatever that is. He doesn't think, oh my god, it's a monster. Yeah, he's quite a casual reaction to seeing this 6-foot turtle. Anyway, they have a fight. It goes back and forth, back and forth. Raphael gets knocked into a garbage can, and as he's getting out, Casey Jones runs off.
Oh, gotta run!
The next day, April is back at work on the news station, and she's reporting on the crime wave again. And the turtles are watching, yeah, because she hasn't eaten with her boss first. Oh yeah, that's right, she's meeting with her boss, Charlie, and his son, Danny, and Danny steals money from her purse. But yeah, on the TV, the turtles are watching, and they're like, oh my goodness, I'm in love with her. I bet she fancies turtles. She definitely doesn't. No. But someone else is watching the news report, some shadowy figure somewhere else. Yeah, and he says, find her and silence her.
Silence her.
So again that night, she's walking home, she decides to take the subway, and she is confronted by about 10 ninjas. Yep. And they're like, listen, Miss O'Neill, shut your mouth. And they slatter.
Those guys.
And she's knocked out. But then Raphael comes to the rescue. Yeah, he like beats out all the ninjas easily. And then he takes out April and jumps onto the train tracks with her and runs along the train tracks. That can't be safe. What he doesn't know is that one of the ninjas has actually followed him and is spying on the turtles and then runs off to tell his master. Whoever that may be. So eventually April wakes up, she's on a couch in the turtle's lair and she's surrounded by 4 giant turtles and 1 giant rat. Yeah.
You're all a bunch of freaks!
She's freaking out, but then Splinter says, wait and I'll tell you the origin story. So we got a little scene of this regular rat, okay, and he sees 4 regular baby turtles, and instead of eating them, which is what you would do, he decides just, oh, they're nice. And there also decides on ooze. The ooze gets on the turtles and it gets on the rat, and they mutate into half human, half animal things. It's disgusting. It's not disgusting. And for some reason, Splinter decides, I'll just name them after my 4 favourite artists, even though I'm a rat. And he names them Michelangelo, Leonardo, Donatello and Raphael. And that's it. That's all it takes for April to be like, oh, you guys are cool. Come to my house. So the turtles go to April's apartment with her, which is not far away, and she lives above an antique store, which she also owns. Yeah, she's loaded. I don't know if she's loaded. She's inherited this antique store, and she lives in an apartment upstairs. She goes in, and she's like, all I've got to eat is pizza. And the turtles cannot believe their luck. They're like, oh, pizza, you said the magic word. Oh, we love it here. We love you. Blah, blah, blah. They need to calm down. While they're in the apartment, Michelangelo is giving her impressions, like impressions of Sylvester Stallone and all this.
Maybe I'll fight Apollo, and maybe I won't, you know? Adrian!
Eventually the turtles return to their lair and Splinter is gone. He's been taken. Yeah, and Raphael has a normal reaction. He just screams. And then the turtles all return to April O'Neil's door and they're all crying. They're like, oh, Splinter is gone. Yeah. Let it go. He's a rat. He's their father figure. He's a rat. So I guess they're living there for the foreseeable future, because the next day, Charlie and his son Danny turn up to April's flat, April's apartment, and the turtles have to hide behind the shower curtain and things like that. Yeah, and then they see Danny and Charlie arguing on the way home, and Danny gets out the car and just runs off, and he runs to this lair, right? And it's like, it's so cool. It's not supposed to be cool. It is. It's got arcade games, and it's got Stuart, and it's got gambling, and it's got card games, and it's got people having cigars and cigarettes, all these kids. I don't like the smoke, but apart from that, it looks so cool. Yeah, and there's this crazy ninja guy walking around, and he tells them to go and play and have fun. This is Tetsuo, and he is second in command to Master Shredder. Yet, Master Shredder. What? Yeah, that's just his name. Hi, I don't know. And Shredder has Splinter tied up in the warehouse. Yeah, and he wants the turtles dead. So the turtles are chilling out at April's, watching the news, and Michelangelo's right up against the screen. Tear dirt. Right. But Raphael and Leonardo get into a bit of an argument because Leonardo thinks they should formulate a plan. Raphael just wants to go straight out and try to find Splinter as soon as possible. And to calm down, Raphael goes up on the roof of the building and starts doing karate kicks and cartwheels and things.
Bit different, bit weird.
He's being watched from across the street by Casey Jones.
Not much more than a voyeur, are you?
How does he know where to look? I don't know. I think he's just looking out in the city and seeing what's happening. Nope. He's specifically watching this little turtle dude. Anyway, some of the Foot Clan appear and they attack Raphael. Yeah, they get into a big fight and Raphael beats up quite a lot of them, but then there's too many. There's like so many of them, and they appear and they throw Raphael through a skylight and smash into April's apartment. So obviously the other 3 turtles spring into action. Raphael's on the floor unconscious, but it's a big fight, yeah, full of one-liners and high kicks and craziness. It's like 3 ninjas again. It's not that bad. Not quite. I mean, most of it is kicks and punches and backflips and things like that. Yeah, but then Leonardo pulls out his knife, his swords, and he's trying to chop this guy to death. This is a family movie, mate. But then the Foot respond in kind. They bring out some axes. Yeah, because now they've crashed down through the floor of April's apartment and they're in the antique store. And either way, they set it on fire. Yeah, that was accidental, but the place has been set on fire. April returns home to see what's happening, and Casey Jones comes along and he helps out the turtles. Yeah, he's like, leave my little green daddy alone. So the fight is not even now, although Casey Jones basically watches for most of it. He gets involved, but then April reveals there's a secret trapdoor in this antique shop for some reason. So they escape through that, and leave the foot soldier to burn to death. Well, no, they get out there as well. Back at the hideout, Shredder and Tetsuo are getting reports of what happens. Shredder and Tetsuo both go nuts and start like bullying some of the kids. And Shredder says to Tetsuo, the way you described the fighting style of these turtles reminds me of something. We see Danny, he goes to see Splinter, and yeah, and basically he's just like, oh, it's a talking rat. See you later. So all this seems to have happened overnight, because now it's morning. April O'Neil, Casey Jones, Leonardo, Michelangelo, Donatello, and the unconscious Raphael have just pulled up to this country house. Yeah, it's a farm that April has also inherited. She's a millionaire. She could be if she sold all this. And we get some time with Raphael recuperating in the bathtub. Yeah, face down. He's gonna die. He's alright. Raphael stays vigil over him. He won't move. He won't leave his side. Not. And April's writing all this down in a journal, and she's drawing the turtles like incredibly accurately. Yeah, she's very good at drawing. After a long while, Raphael wakes up and eventually he's back to training with the other three in the forest. Some good looking shots. I like it, it's nice. Yeah, even though these creatures are hideous. So, the gang return to the city. Yeah, and they get into the stairs and Casey Jones is like, I can't sleep here, this is horrible. Yeah, and this doesn't make sense, right? Because one of the turtles says, oh, I know how you can't sleep here. You're claustrophobic. Yeah. And Casey Jones says, how dare you? I've never even looked at another guy. Yeah, it's not the best joke. It doesn't make sense. Anyway, in the sewer they realise someone's here watching them. It's Danny. He's run away from the hideout and he's here to see the turtles. He's not freaked out at all. But while everyone's asleep, Danny sneaks out. Yeah, and Casey Jones is sleeping in his truck and he sees Danny, so he follows him. And he follows him to the hideout. And then Danny goes and speaks to Splinter. And Splinter's like, listen, I'll tell you a big story. So he tells him all about his past. Basically, Splinter was a rat in Japan. Yeah. His master, who trained ninjutsu every day. Yeah, and this little rat in a cage caught the notions. Because that's what happens. His master is in love with a woman, and another gentleman is in love with this woman. Urusaki, it turns out, will go on to be Shredder. Yeah, right, because he comes in and he's like, wait, I love you. And this one's like, no, I don't love you, I love this guy who's got a pet rat. So, they flee to America, and Urusaki follows, and he goes in, and he kills the guy who owns the rat, and he kills the woman who doesn't love him. And then the rat jumps out of the cage and it scratches his face and he cuts its ear. He doesn't kill it, he just leaves after that. So Splinter tells Danny all this, and do you know what? Yeah, there's a song in the end credits, yeah, and then there, Turtle Rat or something. It's actually called Turtle Power. Anyway, the B-side of that when I bought the single, of course you got the single. Yeah, well, the B-side was that speech, Danny being told that story by Splinter with a little bit of music behind it. Really? Yeah. Eventually Casey Jones catches up with Danny and they have a little talk and they realise Shredder wants to go and kill the turtles and Tetsuo is going to stay behind and kill Splinter.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so the turtles are jumped. They're attacked in their sewer by the Foot Clan and they fight them off and it's another big fight. Casey Jones fights Tetsuo in the hideout. Yeah, all his little, like, up-and-coming foot soldiers, the teenagers, they just stand and watch. And Casey Jones basically knocks the guy out with a golf club. Yeah. He has brain damage. They rescue Splinter. A couple of the teenagers step up to Casey Jones and they say, hey, we're going to be the Foot Clan. We'll take you on and we'll knock you out. Yeah, but then Casey Jones and Splinter speak to them. This teenager that's doing the speaking, he is Sam Rockwell. Who? You'll see him in other films. Right. Actually, he's in Charlie's Angels. Ah, that was rubbish. Yes, it was. Now, somehow the Turtles end up on a rooftop of a building again. Yeah, and they fight off the Foot Clan, another fight. And these Turtles can move, by the way. They're athletic. They are. It's pretty impressive. They beat up all the Foot Clan, and then Shredder appears. Yeah, so they're fighting one at a time.
Fools.
What are you doing? Attacking all together and you'll beat them? They would have beaten them if they had done that, but they don't. They attack one at a time. So Shredder fights them off one at a time, and he eventually disarms Leonardo, and he's got a spear, and he's going to use the spear to take out Leonardo. He's going to turn it through him. Yeah. And he says, everyone drop your weapons or I will kill him. Yeah. So they do, and then he's like, haha, you fools. You could have beaten me if it was just 3 of you. But now you're disarmed, I'll kill you all. April's on the street watching this. I don't know how she can see. No, I don't know how she can see, but she can see on top of a building from ground level, from street level. Yeah, and Casey Jones appears and he can watch, and he's got like all the teenagers in America. All these teenagers from the lair have joined, and everyone's watching, looking up as if they can see what's going on. There's no way. There's no way. Shredder's about to take the Turtles out, and then Splinter appears at the edge of the roof. Yeah, and he's like, hi, Splinter. Remember me? I'm that rat. You cut my ear. I scratched your face. And Shredder takes this in his stride. He's like, oh yeah, I remember you. Yeah, he's not like, how are all these animals speaking? This is terrifying. So Shredder rushes at Splinter, and Splinter grabs the end of Shredder's spear, flips him over, and now Shredder is hanging off the edge of the building. Splinter's holding him up. Splinter starts to give a big boring speech. That Shredder tries to slash him with one of his little blades, and Splinter just lets him go to his death. Our hero. Well, he falls about 50 feet into a garbage truck. Yeah. And Casey Jones is standing by the garbage truck, and he presses the button to crush Shredder to death, if he wasn't already dead. We see his helmet being squashed, and I'd imagine his head inside it. I guess so. This is dark. After this, the cops appear, and so does Charlie, and he and Danny are reunited. Yeah, Danny's like, oh, sorry, Dad. I won't be a bad boy again. By the way, it's just Dan now.
Dan! 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 Dan!
Sam Rockwell and other teenagers tell the cops all about the big hideout and where they can find all the stolen stuff. Yet, incriminating themselves, well, I think they're trying to do the right thing. You're going to Judy. The Turtles are watching all of this happen from the rooftop, and they see Casey Jones and April have a big kiss. Yeah. And they say, tubular. They say things like, what do they say? They say tubular, radical, awesome. Yeah, and then Splinter interrupts, and he says, I always liked cowabunga.
Cowabunga.
Yeah, and then he says, ha! I need a funny. No, you didn't. You just said a word. Yeah, that's a good point. That's not funny. Cowabunga was a huge thing in the Turtles' lore. Really? Yeah. Did they steal it from The Simpsons? It's all the way about. So Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, blast from the past for me. I absolutely loved it. I did not. It was weird. I don't understand what these creatures are. I don't know why they're ninjas. I don't know what's going on half the time. It's dark. A lot of it is quite dark. Yeah, I mean, it's dark. Alright, you mean both thematically and literally? Yeah. Yeah. But I absolutely love this movie, and I always have, and I always will. You need help. Actually, I recently bought something that I had as a kid, and I just found it again online, so I bought it. Oh my goodness. Get a life. Hit like, hit subscribe, I'll see you next time. Cowabunga! How's that funny?